Hey, what up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you with a rumor that honestly just won't die. It won't go away. I'm not 100% sure if I believe this story that is out there, but there has to be some sort of traction behind it because it is a story that keeps popping up and keeps spinning a little bit bigger and bigger. For well over a year, it seemed that Rey Mysterio was trying to leave WWE. And the day finally came when Rey Mysterio received his release. He immediately went and he signed with AAA Wrestling, and the rumor was that he was going to join Lucha Underground, be able to be a part of the, sort of Lucha Mexican wrestling moving into the United States and try to be like the forefront guy that was supposed to be a part of the company. Now, there was a lot of rumors that Rey Mysterio would debut on the season finale of Lucha Underground, but now that there's lots of rumors about Lucha Underground, whether if they're coming back, whether if they're not coming back, whether if they're moving out of LA and finding another place to be. It seems that Lucha Underground needs to find some way to start making some money to support themselves as they're not really a company, but they are a company. They're a television show. So on one hand, you're like trying to talk about a wrestling company, but the other time, like, it's sort of always been treated like it's a season of Friends or something like that. But, things aren't, I'm sure things are working fine for Mysterio. I see him booked on a lot of indie dates around the country. He just headlined Triple Mania going up against the former Sin Cara, Mystico, and they had a great match. If you were able to sit through all of the problems that went along with that show, I listened to a few reviews from people who gave Triple Mania a chance, and honestly, when it comes down to it, I'll tell you, when I woke up that day, I was fired up for it, and I thought about trying to find a way in order to watch Triple Mania. But by the time I got home from work and the show had already started, there were just horrible reviews about the audio, about the commentators not knowing if they were still on the air. I've heard that visually, the picture was bad, and just all around bad show. Even for $20, didn't think that it was worth wasting my money on a bad product. Court Bauer, one of the leaders of getting Triple Mania onto the air, he put a podcast up on his podcast, MLW, and basically apologized, taking all the blame, saying that that they made mistakes. They tried to do things on the cheap and they shouldn't have, and they paid for it. That was AAA's first chance to really get inside the homes of wrestling fans. They built Triple Mania up like it was a big show that was WrestleMania worthy, and when it comes down to it, they had less than TNA, video and audio, and that's what you're paying for. You could press mute and watch the wrestling, but really, when it comes down to it, when you're watching a product for the first time, you need to have that commentary behind it. And if the guys don't even know that they're on the air, and you have trouble hearing one of the commentators, it's just an all-out mess. And I understand, but it seems that maybe Rey Mysterio and WWE would be coming back together. There was lots of stories about Mysterio trying to get out of the company. They had people tweeting out the hashtag Free Rey, trying to get his release, and he finally was able to get his release after stories were out that Vince was trying to use Rey Mysterio to go on the European tour, and Rey Mysterio turned it down, is sort of trying to get leverage to get Vince mad to fire him, and this, that, or the other. When it comes down to it, the Lucha Dragons are on Monday Night Raw. They haven't really gained a lot of traction, but I think they're a good, fun tag team. But I think that, Rey Mysterio coming back to WWE is a lot like the Dudleys. It's going to be a good, splash, and people will get fired up once he's there. But then WWE isn't really going to be putting this guy into the light of trying to become champion yet. Once again, he's just going to be a guy in the mid-card. Maybe he spices things up going after the United States or the Intercontinental Championship. He has a good match here or there, but when it comes down to it, he's injury prone. And guys that are injury prone, Vince McMahon doesn't want to put a lot of faith in, because you don't want to build up to a big match only to once the pay-per-view comes around you can't have the match because the guy's there. And so many times Mysterio's let us down, whether if it's knee problems or leg problems, one thing leads to another. He's had some time off where he's wrestled less. Maybe he's the guy that comes back and he's fresh because he's got his head back into the game, and he's wrestled some matches on independents and on AAA shows, but for the most part, the guy's had almost 2 years off from being part of the main roster in WWE. So maybe this would be a good thing, but I think that maybe doing sort of a Rob Van Dam thing where you bring the guy in for 3 months and then you give him 6 months off and you bring him back in for 3 months. You're able to keep him under contract where he can't go work for Lucha Underground or anybody else. You're able to have the merchandising rights where you can make figures, you can make masks, you can make t-shirts that you know we're going to sell, and you're going to be able to have one of the biggest stars from a market that you're really trying to, they're in Mexico, but trying to get bigger in Mexico and try and build it. They do that one Mexico tour, and if every year you're able to have Rey Mysterio out there, and even if you put him in the main event, like the one year they had him join DX, it's something that's going to get over with the crowd and be able to make them buy tickets and go to the shows.